Thermal travel drinkware is really popular, and there is tech to make it safer. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from UVCeed. UVCeed is co-founder Justin Byers. Hi,
Good
Justin.
morning. Yeah, good morning, Fred. It's good to be back.
Well, the last time we featured UVCeed was during the COVID pandemic, I think. A UV sanitizer that attaches to the back of a smartphone. Now Now you have a smart disinfecting lid. Give us the overview of what's going on.
Yeah. So, as you mentioned, we started, the parent company of UVC, just a real quick spin out for people who may not have remembered or listened to the last time I was on. But the parent company we work for is a company called Benuti Technologies, and we're a medical tech incubator. So we do everything from some consumer electronics like this to implantable neuromodulation systems for treating chronic cluster headaches. And during COVID, we took a look at some of the ways that UV was being used and came up with the product that you previously mentioned, so the UVCeed. It's a device that uses MagSafes, pops on the back of your phone, and then you use a companion app to sort of visualize where you're disinfecting. As we've continued to expand, one of the things that we're getting ready to introduce is a device. It's a companion for the UVC device. We saw a lot of people, including people in my family, who are always carrying around the sort of Yetis, there's Stanleys, there's a few different brands that seem to be very popular. I actually have one here that is full of coffee. I wasn't even planning on using it, but it works out pretty well. And any of the people who use these know you run them through the dishwasher on some of them. Some of them, they're big, they don't fit, but you end up using them day after day, especially the ones with water, and you get a little bit of stuff growing in them. It's hard to clean them. And so what we wanted to come up with is a way that you could use ultraviolet light to clean the devices and also, clean fluids in it. So I'm going to tilt my camera down a little bit. I didn't have a good angle for that. But what this device is it's got a special lens inside of it that creates a new waveform or not waveform, but the beam pattern of the UV. You take your existing UVC device, and we've got these pre-order right now as a bundle on our website. But you put them in together, and then you stick it on the device. This fits all of the major tumbler brands, so any of them. And then using the phone app, you just connect to the device. Similar like you were using the other devices that we make. You connect, and then there's a thing inside of here that says disinfect my bottle, and I pick which size I have, and then I hit the button. And then depending on the size of the cup, it takes anywhere from 30 seconds to maybe 45 seconds. And it kills 99% of the, I'm sorry, 99.99% of viruses and bacteria in there. And so, one of the things that's useful for is obviously you can't always scrub the bottom of it. But I don't know if you've used these, after a few days of it, sometimes you can actually feel, and no one wants to really admit they're drinking out of that, but sometimes you can feel a little, it almost becomes like a little slimy, residue on the sides. The cup doesn't quite feel right. And that a lot of times what happens is there in those cups is if you get any bacteria in there, they start growing a bacterial biofilm. So these biofilms is what will make your cup stinky, makes stuff growing in there, makes them hard to clean. And using UV light now, we're giving an easy way to sort of clean all of those collections of bottles and cups that you've got in your house.
So, unfortunately, I do know what you're talking about, but the do you use this with the cup empty or with whatever you're drinking in it?
So there's two ways, and we sort of thought of this in two different ways when we made the device. And currently, the app that is available for download has it for the cup empty. We're in the process of finishing some calculations, and then you'll have an option. Even in the app, you have an option to select when you select your cup size whether the cup is empty or whether it's full. And the reason for that is you take a different amount of energy to clean an empty cup versus a full cup. So if you are in a public place and you fill your cup and you want to go ahead and kill anything that you don't trust in the water fountain, you'd be able to go ahead and select that. And then that increases your time a little bit because you want to deliver more energy because you're trying to do the water and the cup. What I use mine for the majority of the time is like my cup stays in the office more than it should. I don't always bring it home. At the end of the day, I don't have any coffee. The coffee's all gone. But I'll toss that on in the morning before I make my coffee. Hit the button, let it clean the cup that I keep in my office, and then I do that empty. So it really depends on what your situation is, but it can do both.
And that would be for water only, not say the
Yeah,
coffee
you
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 have
know
in there
that's the
now.
one thing is that's a limitate. We do have a limitation of the light going through. So yeah, you're really looking at only water when you're doing that. So if you're wanting to make coffee, you'd really want to treat your water like if you're using another time that I find it that I think about it is in those hotels. When you've got the coffee maker in the hotel, you'd want to sterilize the water before you run it through the coffee maker.
Maybe sterilize the coffee maker too, right?
Yeah, yeah, and actually you can because it's the same device that pops out. So instead of using that lid, you can pop open the back of those the sort of K cup things that are in every hotel, and then you just use the device on the back of the phone like you would traditionally. Use the app to point at where you're treating, and you can do the inside of the coffee cup or the inside of the coffee maker, and then we often will do at our house, like not as often, but like the outside, some of the Stanleys, they have handles. You've got the straws, using not the lid, but the UV device outside of the adapter lid, because they just pop in and out with magnetics. Then you can take care of lids, straws, any of the things that's not on the inside of the cup. Um,
I was
you
going to
know,
ask about that, whether or not, I mean, a lot of the problem can often be with the lids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So the way we did our design, and the approach that we sort of took for it is, there's some bottles out there that are made um, that that are like water bottles that have the light in the lid that you take off to drink. And what we realized, I think from watching people, you go to trade shows or you see people in the office, is everybody seems to have the tumbler brand they like. There's people here walk around with the Stanleys. They've got to have the color that matches their outfit or whatever, and you see them a bunch of it. This brand, they're not paying me to say, so I won't say I'm endorsing any brand, but this is one of the popular brands, and I really like it just because of the shape, right? And we realized when we were sort of looking at this idea of using UV to sterilize these tumblers and these bottles is, we looked at some of the competitors, or the only competitor we really saw, they were making their own water bottle. And we realized that there are tons of people who are already attached to certain brands. I don't think 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, I don't think there seemed to be as a big of emotional attachment to water cups as there are, now. You see people that never leave the house without their Stanley, or they, or the Yeti. There seems to be people now that are really tied to certain ones, and our thought was, why try to change that? If you've already got a cup that you like, you've already got a tumbler that you like, you've already got a water bottle that you like, or maybe you have all three. We wanted a device that works with all of them, and that's why when we designed this lid, what you noticed is, like, when I did it on the Yeti brand, so we've got multiple sort of ridges on this. And the idea with that is, like, this one right here is designed to fit on the Yeti, like, coffee cups. Now, if I had a Stanley, we've got these larger ones, and this fits right on the Stanley. And what that does is that aligns with our lens. We're taking the beam angle, which used to be a smaller beam angle, going down like this because we were working on surfaces and keyboards and everything else. If you don't design the lens and the beam to really focus on what you're cleaning, if I had a 30-degree beam angle coming down here, boy, I'd sure get the bottom. but all of this area up here, I wouldn't treat, all the sidewalls of the cup. And so what we did with ours is we use a special technology in the lens that as soon as our UV comes in there, we do it almost to a 180 beam. So then we're doing the entire cup and the entire sidewalls versus just, because if you think about light, even though you can't see UV light, it's like a flashlight, right? You've got those flashlights, you got a mag light, they come out and it goes a long way before it really widens out. You've got a really tight beam on that. And when you're doing like a keyboard, or you're doing something like where you've seen either like a UV wand or our UVCeed, and you're doing a surface, you don't necessarily want to have that real wide beam. The reason for that is you've still got the same amount of energy up here. So if I have a UV bulb or a light bulb, if you think of it in terms of light bulbs, that's a certain amount of wattage, and you spread it out over a big area, right? It's not going to light up. Like if you have one light bulb in your office, it's not going to light your whole office up, but you might get dim light everywhere. But if you have that same light bulb over your desk, you're going to get a lot more concentration. And so the way we did our beam design is for device, like when you're doing it just with the device on the back of your phone, and I'm doing the straw or my keyboard or my TV remote at my hotel, we want to keep that beam real tight because that reduces the amount of time that it takes to clean. We're delivering more energy in a short area. And so when we did this lid, when we were thinking, oh, we want to be able to do Yetis, we want to do Stanleys, we want to widen that out. What that does is it does take a little bit longer. We're looking at the 30 to 60 seconds. It's not a lot of time, but what we did with the app is you put it on there. It's all Bluetooth connected. I hit a little thing and on my phone and go make my coffee, and my phone buzzes when everything's ready and it tells me when everything's clean. And we think that works out real nice. I mentioned the Yetis, I mentioned the Stanleys. Like there's the brand like the Aqua Flasks and some of these other brands of the longer water bottles. It's designed so that'll sit the lid of that goes on the inside of this ring. So really, we want a device where if you have a bottle that you like for the gym, if you have a bottle that you like in the morning, or a coffee cup you like in the morning, these ones where you're reusing it, you're not trying to replace the things that you already like. You're getting one tool that you can use with all of them.
Just terrific. So tell us about availability and pricing.
So right now, we have availability. We're hoping that we should be shipping probably late next month. So we're doing pre-order right now. And that is on our website at UVCeed.com. And you can go there, and we're doing currently the pricing is at $149 for the entire bundle. So that's with the lid, with the UV device, everything pairs for your phone, which is a pre-order price right now. That includes, like I said, all of that. Now, starting next month, we're going to be having some introductory pricing that's even lower. And so what you can do is you can go to the website, and we're going to be doing some specials as we get a little closer. You can sign up for emails, and we're going to be throwing those out starting, I think, early next week with some undisclosed discounted pricing. So we're trying to get some people to come and sign up early, and we'll cut you a deal, I guess, is if you get on our mailing list.
The website again is UVCeed.com.
Yep, .com. That is correct.
Justin Byers, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you, Fred.